I felt very butch actually the other day because I had to trim her hedge. That's not how that sounds.
We've prefaced that with Nan, so yeah, we're good. God, I'm very booby today.
For someone with no boobs.
I know. Honestly, that's why you got a bar. You have to buy a bra that has them.
Built-in boobs. I don't know. I never found them very comfortable because I always found them like, I don't know if you have, the bits here, they just kind of like they never used to sit nicely. So yeah, I just always looked like someone had a bra that was far too small for them.
Okay.
So it's very rare for me to even have like
padding.
Padded, yeah.
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 That's because you've been blessed.
Well,
you've been blessed with more than a handful.
I don't know if it's that or if it's like age thing kicking in because like, the next stop is no underwire and then I'm basically a grandma. So
I mean, I think I only have like 2 proper bras now because, as I said before, since the pandemic, I've just gone to like crop tops, kind of like sports bra type things.
Yeah.
Yeah, nicely padded ones because, again, need the padding. But that's it. Like, that whole underwire thing and that sort of thin strap at the back, like, nah, bunny. I just can't. I just can't. Life is too short, man. Comfort. I'm a comfort queen.
Oh my God.
But I can. I know if you're quite top heavy, like it's just not the one. Like I know you need the support and yeah.
Yeah. I do like a sports bra, but I think we've had this conversation before, especially I think I've definitely said something about it, but just like I just find after a few, I don't know, minutes, the inside just gets so sweaty.
Yeah.
I'm just like
it's not fun. Not a fun feeling.
No. Not at all. Oh, how are you feeling?
I'm okay. You could be looking for something to complain about. I'm good. I've got no complaints. My to-do list is doable. I've been sleeping great. That the kids have been away for like a week now. Is it a week? Yeah, a week. And waking up when your eyes open versus being woken up it's a whole new way of living, man. So I'm just kind of enjoying the quiet, to be honest. They've been messaging me relentlessly though, which is fine.
Really?
Yeah. It's cute. But yeah, I'm good, man. I really can't complain.
Oh, that's
How's
good.
you? Because you've had a manic couple of days.
Yeah, well, manic week
you're not done.
actually.
Yeah, are you?
No. I've got like 3 more weeks of like movements and stuff, but yeah, I'm not as tired as I expected to. Don't get me wrong, I'm tired.
Oh yeah, that's just like standard.
I think because I'm so used to just like not moving anywhere that any kind of requirement of effort to go places takes a lot out of me. I'm just like, what is this? But yeah,
totally
it was quite nice. Just spent the weekend at my nan's and just like potted about, and I felt very butch actually the other day because I had to trim her hedge. That's not how that sounds.
We've prefaced that with Nan, so yeah, we're good.
Anyway, so some woman, there's a small path that runs up the side of my nan's house, and some woman was complaining to a neighbour about the fact that the hedge was kind of like, just getting outgrown and stuff. And so she'd get wet legs when she was taking her dog for a walk.
Oh, okay.
the path, I said little, but it's like two people can walk past each other down it, right? And the hedge comes
Okay.
over one little side. So you should be able to just walk down the other side anyway. Because my nan's really like, oh, I don't want people to think badly of me. It's like, I'll trim the thing. I was expecting shears. I was expecting to go old school, like get all of
Yeah.
the shoulder motion and stuff in. But she actually had an electric. Well, it's not hers. It was my granddad's. But I went out there in my little cycling shorts, some baggy tee.
And got to trimming.
Yeah.
Do you know
So
what though? I don't like the fact that this woman was complaining to another person though about Nan's hedge. Like, obviously, it must be a neighbor, and
yeah,
she must know that Nan's there by herself. So it's like, if it's that much of a problem, where's the neighborly spirit to at least help or
right.
something?
I know.
Or at
I
least let
know.
Nan know, just like, can I get someone to help you? Like
Yeah.
something. But then to complain to someone else about it, I don't like her,
No,
whoever
no,
she
I
is.
instantly I was just like, where does she live? Because I need to pay a visit.
Literally.
But as it turns
So
out,
horrid.
she was also complaining to this guy about his own fence. So she just sounds like a Karen. So
Yeah, I
let's
was
just
okay.
let her get on with it. You know, karma will come around. So you keep doing
Uh,
you, Karen.
complaining to a guy about his own fence. Bloody hell.
Yeah, she was like asking him to get it changed. And he was like, it's new. It cost me £3,000. That ain't going nowhere.
Good.
Also, it's my garden. Shut the fuck up. Move on.
Literally. And I
Ugh.
bet you her house looks like hell inside. I
Yeah, it's
find
like
that
I
people,
hoarder.
yeah.
Like
It's
squeezing.
very typical that people who's like outside is like manicured and pristine looking, the inside is
Yeah.
hell.
Don't throw stones.
Yeah, horrible lady.
So
Anyway,
yeah, so great weekend and it's fantastic weather still.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't look it right now. I think it's a bit gloomy looking, but it feels nice. Like these
Yeah.
temperatures are perfect. 23s, lovely.
I know, I know. I think that's the thing. And again, I'm going to reference age, but as I have got older, it's definitely something like low 20s is a temperature that I can appreciate. When I was
Yeah.
younger, I'd be like, bring me the 30s, 35s. I just want to toast in
35.
this.
Oh
Yeah, but
God.
I mean, I don't mean here at home. I'm talking like I'm going to be in a pool somewhere in that
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
true.
temperature.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's true.
yeah, and now I'm just like, ugh. I couldn't think of anything worse. And it's just you're gonna be sitting in a bath because everyone else is gonna be in the pool and all of their temperature is gonna be rising the pool temperature. It's just gonna be grim. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll take off my old lady hat, pop it over there. It might come back again. So we've been chit-chatting and we haven't even like started the show
Well,
properly.
that's how we do.
Yeah, that whole thing of like building rapport before every meeting. That's essentially what we're doing.
All the time.
I've not seen you in a week, so let's just like start
Literally.
as if we don't know each other. How are we getting on?
How was your week? Oh, this weather. Yep. All the main points have been ticked.
Oh my God, so British. So listeners, oh God, I shouted, apologies. So listeners, welcome on board for another episode of It's All Frolics. Thank you so much for joining us, whether it's your first time or your 38th time.
Well done.
Who knows? Could be around that time. Welcome back. Welcome. So if you are new, oh yeah, by the way, my name's Amy. I have a beautiful co-host called Monique, who is going to have to be safeguarding this show. So if you are new, basically, there's always a bit of a warm-up, which is sometimes just us chit-chatting, and sometimes there is a little pre-prepared game of some description, or fact-finding description. So that's what I'm going to kick off with today.
Yay!
I have some riddles for you.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Only because someone asked me a riddle over the weekend and I was like, God, I am so rubbish at this. Aha, what a good game. Just don't do them back to me because I'd be awful. So I found a couple of posts online and they are like just general riddles. So I thought it'd be just fun to see where your mind goes when you hear the clues.
We're about to see what kind of day it is. Sometimes I'm like,
stop.
oh yeah, got it. Other days it's just like, no idea.
We will see, because I even reading the like little description bit, I was like, oh, before I look at the answer, I'm going to try and figure it out. Some of them are really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then when you hear the answer, you're just like, man,
it's like right there. Do you know what's so random? I literally dropped one in my work's group chat. Was one day this week? Because, you know, like when you log in, you kind of do the customary like good morning post. So I'm usually extra and have something else to say. And this week I actually had, like, I never have a riddle, but this time I had. So I'll let you know what that is. I'll tell you that one after you've done yours.
Okay.
See if you get it.
All right. So I'm going to do a total of 10. All right. Just to kind of keep it short and sweet, because I do have quite a lot of them. So let's see how you do.
All right.
First one's up. Ooh. Okay. What has words but never speaks?
A book?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. I was like, that feels a little too easy.
That's why I went with that one first.
Okay.
I thought, let's
now.
try this one. No, just, okay. So, what can you keep after giving to someone?
A memory?
No.
Hmm.
What can you keep after giving to someone?
I don't know.
A promise. Now, I have heard a riddle that is linked to a promise, and it's about breaking something. But I'll see if I can find that version of it. So, promise.
That's a cute one.
I'm making a note of the ones that we've got. Okay, what about this one? I have branches, but no fruit, trunk, or leaves. What am I?
Banks?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
See? Here I go.
It's that kind of morning, huh? Okay.
Caffeine's kicking in.
How about what is cut on a table but never eaten?
Cut on a table but never eaten. God. What do you cut? I was gonna say the cheese, but I don't know. What is it?
A deck of cards.
Okay, I'll let him have it. Because technically I'd like split the deck. So I guess it depends on the vernacular you're used to, but
definitely. Fine. That's exactly what I was thinking. Okay, I'm going to change to a different post and see what we've got.
All right.
Oh, okay. What asks no questions but must be answered?
Telephone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Look at you go, girl.
That might be the... Oh, no. Let me not jinx myself.
Yeah, don't jinx yourself. Okay. What is so fragile that saying its name breaks it?
What is so fragile that saying its name breaks it? Oh, this is going to be one of those bait ones. I don't know. I don't know. Tell me.
Silence.
Yeah,
I
very
quite like
good.
that one.
That is good. Yeah.
Okay. What has many hearts but no other organs?
Is this another deck of cards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
Good. Today
Well
is the
done.
day.
Okay, another one. We've got 3 more. Forwards, I'm heavy. Backwards, I'm not. What am I?
Forwards, I'm heavy. Backwards, I'm not. Oh, a door?
No.
No. Okay, what is it?
Ton. So it's a weight, a ton. So forwards, I'm heavy, I weigh a ton. Backwards, I'm not. TONNOT.
Oh, yeah, I would have never gotten that. Okay, cool.
Okay. No, that one's a bit too much. Um,
Now I want to know what it is. What's too much?
how do you spell cow in 13 letters?
Yeah, it's too much. What's the answer?
So I'll spell it out. SEEODOUBLEYOU. COW.
Yeah, next.
Exactly. That's like a proper dad joke, isn't it?
Boo.
Okay. 2 more. What building has the most stories?
Library.
Yes. Well done.
Aha.
Okay, so we've done 9 so far. How many do you think you got right?
6.
No, 5.
Okay. I'm about to get 6.
Well done. Okay. What can't... Oh, no. It belongs to you, but your friends use it more. What is it?
Oh, God.
So
It
for
belongs to
listeners,
you.
it belongs to you, but your friends use it more. What is it?
Oh, I know. Your phone number.
No.
Oh, I
Probably
mean,
could use
yes, it
that.
works, but
It
what's
does
the
work, but it's not
actual?
the answer. Have another guess. You have another guess. You're on the
Oh,
same kind of lines.
it belongs to you, but your friends use it more. I don't. That's all I've got. That's all I've got. I can't think of anything else now.
Your name.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's literally right there, isn't it? Okay.
So it was a 50-50 split. 5 to you, 5 to the riddles. How well did you guys do, listeners?
Yeah.
Leave us a
Oh,
comment.
let me tell you the one that I dropped
Oh, yeah.
in my
Do
work
it.
group chat. So, um, a cowboy rode into town on Friday. He stayed 2 days and left on Friday. How did that happen?
Because the name of the horse is Friday.
Damn, girl. Yeah, okay. Not even a Just straight in there. Yeah, well done.
Not
Well
even a
done.
who. Ridiculous. Oh my God. All right, so we have come to the end of the riddles, our little gamey warm-up. So I'm assuming you're still listening. So I'm going to tell you at this point to do all of the things that if you haven't done before, you should do it now. Subscribe. I'm making you a list. Write them down so you can tick them off. Subscribe, follow, give us a thumbs up. And if you're brave enough, leave us a comment. We want to hear from you. Either about the answers, how many did you get? So we did 10. How many out of 10 did you get? And be honest. Be honest, guys.
And if you've got time, leave us a riddle because these were actually really quite fun.
Yeah, yeah. And there's so many. There are so many out there. Oh, so I feel like, well, one, my tea's finished. So I need a top up. But I feel like it's the best time for a little interlude. How'd you feel?
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, we'll be right back after this. I came across on Facebook it was a random thing that was just playing in the background, but it was basically about life in the 1500s, right? And it was talking about just some of the I don't know, figures of speech that we use nowadays and where it came from.
Oh my God, I saw the same thing.
So you know which one I'm talking about.
But I don't know, it might not be, I definitely didn't see it on Facebook because I'm hardly ever there. But I literally saw a post about where our phrases have come from. So I'm wondering if it's the same one. And I was meant to make a note of it for this very same reason. So I love it. So go ahead. And if it's so different, then I'll find it and maybe use it next week or something.
More. That'd be cool. Because, so I think, I won't say all of them because it was quite a long video and also my memory is shit. But the ones I can remember, I thought was really quite interesting, was talking about kind of that in order to tan their leather, right, they'd soak it in urine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ew.
So, or soak kind of their outer garments. So they'd soak them in urine. So what people would do is that the family would pee in a pot, right? And then the tanning companies would come and collect all of this pee.
Right.
And that was known, people who had to do that for money were called piss poor. So, you know, when we use the phrase piss poor, that's where it came from. But
that's
also
so cool, but random.
Yeah, but I guess it makes sense because you're so poor that you need to get paid for your pee kind of stuff. So piss poor. And then,
that's so
but
cool.
there are people who didn't have enough money to have a pot, so they didn't have enough
a pot to piss in.
I was just like,
that is just.
Oh my
That's crazy.
God.
Oh, I love hearing the origin stories of these.
And there were so many and they were like going on and on. The other one I can remember was about oh God. Oh yeah. So all of the floors were dirt, right?
Yeah.
So literally in people's houses, they would have dirt floor and they couldn't afford to cover it. So those people were called dirt poor. There was all more things. More people who had money would throw it, would kind of like put this kind of straw like, people who had money had like slate flooring, which got slippery when it was wet. So you used to put like straw stuff on top of it, but it was called thresh. So they'd throw this on and like when it got a bit damper again, they'd throw new stuff. But over the winter period, all of this stuff would start to slip out the door. So they had this piece of wood that they would kind of lodge against the door. Okay. And that's how the word threshold came into the thing. I was like, oh, so many things. The last one that I remember, or they're kind of connected. So they were talking about how the kind of like mugs or containers that people used to drink whiskey in were made of lead. And so people who used to drink a lot of whiskey, they'd find, because of the combination of the lead and the whiskey, it could quite often knock people out for a couple of days. So you just have random people passed out on the street who would be assumed dead. Those people would kind of take them, they'd be sent kind of delivered home, if you will, where they'd have them laid out on a table for like a couple of days, and people would kind of eat and drink around them. And that's how the practice of a wake came about.
Really?
Yeah. And then they were buried, right? If they didn't come to in that time, they were assumed actually dead, so they were buried. But in the UK, because we're so small, we ran out of space to bury people, so they would just kind of, well, get rid of some of the bones that were in existing kind of caskets and stuff and put these people in it. But when they were digging people up, they realized the inside of some of these caskets had scratch marks on. So they were actually buried alive, right? So then what they started doing, so actually there's quite a few of these that are coming through. So what they started doing is that they put a string on the inside, which was attached to a bell. So that, and then someone would have to stay in the graveyard all night, hence the graveyard shift. Right?
That is
in
crazy.
case someone rang a bell to say, hey guys, I'm just knocked out. I'm not dead.
I mean, that is insane. So to be knocked out by whiskey and lead, so you're not breathing at all then? Like, that's...
Or so shallow that you're not, it's not
recognized. Can't be picked up. So we're not checking pulses. That's insane.
1500s, babe. I mean...
I know, but it's giving dumb.
Oh my God. That's funny.
Makes no sense. Oh dear. Oh, what a way to go though, being buried. Oh God, could you?
I know.
Let's not imagine.
No,
actually.
thanks. No. Officially in the dictionary.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, same as ick. Ick is now in the dictionary. Yeah.
I mean,
what was the other one?
Surprising. That's been added.
Yeah, chef's kiss.
We did have one of those.
Ick. There was something else. Oh yeah, boop.
Really? How have they described boop?
I think
that would be interesting.
The noise you make when you press your finger to someone's nose or to a dog's nose. Boop.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, they're really like capsulating the times, aren't they?
They really are. And it makes sense because, I mean, obviously with language, it's evolved with Shakespeare and so on. So Shakespeare is no longer, running these streets. So someone's going to have to influence. Someone's going to have to start influencing.
The first person that I heard say boop, though, was Nene Leakes from Housewives of Atlanta.
And in what context did she use?
Obviously, she was just like, after she'd like read somebody down, it was just like, boop.
I do love her though. Honestly, whenever I'm like, "Ooh, what's a good mood for this?"
Okay.
It's her. She has all of them.
She does. She's problematic as hell. She takes zero. Well, I've not watched Housewives of Atlanta for a while, but her accountability scale is like very low. But she's a hoot to watch, man. She's a lot of fun.
Entertainment. Well, talking about problematic, that kind of slides us quite nicely into this week's
nice. That was smooth.
Oh dear.
The deep dive.
I know. And it is deep this week because obviously last week we had a bit of a shallow paddle. That's still a mouth, like a tongue twister for me.
I'm just really is.
Hello, paddle.
Yeah. There's no alliteration. That's why I've got to think of something.
Shallow paddle. So it's good to get your mouth moving. This week is a deep dive though. So this week's deep dive, listeners, good thinking point, I think, for all of us, is about coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was, what is your coping? Oh my God.
That. How'd you get by?
What is your coping mechanism or mechanisms? Yeah, how do you self-soothe? How do you get by is a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
So if people are confused as to what I mean by coping mechanism, I have come prepared with a definition. So this is just one, there's many, but this is the main one that's used. A coping mechanism is a technique that individuals use to manage stress, anxiety, or negative emotions. Different coping mechanisms can be healthy and constructive, but I wonder if the
Mm-hmm.
go-to coping mechanisms that we have are on that healthy side, or are they unhealthy coping mechanisms? One thing I haven't dug into this week, because it's only just occurred to me, is where I could have picked them up. Like, you know what I mean? So I kind of know what my mechanisms are. I kind of know if they're healthy or unhealthy. But I've not really put much thought into what spurred them on as my
Yeah.
coping mechanisms, because they've got to come from somewhere. Um, so how did you feel about this particular week's deep dive question?
Well, I put a little list together actually,
Oh,
so I know I'm kind of prepared this week. So the first one on my list, which gives me like the most immediate relief, is deep breathing.
mm,
Um, Now this is something that I only I was going to say recently adopted, but it might be coming on to. It's not 10 years since I've been living here, is it? It's going to be close. Gosh, the time is going so far. Basically, the first year that I became a single parent is when I adopted the deep breathing technique. Like that first year was extremely stressful. Like, as you can imagine, I had just moved house. The girls were 2.5 and 4, so they're still very little. Our whole schedule had changed, in terms of getting one to school on time, getting one to nursery on time, me getting to work on time, leaving on time to do it all in reverse. Like it was a lot. And I wasn't sleeping very well, which is a habit that still kind of rears its ugly head at times. And I would be just like really snippy. Like they could. So basically, I adopted this technique just to help me cope with the girls better because they would like they were just like very, I don't know, they were kind of like a key stressor for me. And it's
mm,
not because they were necessarily doing anything bad as such, but the demands that they had as just being little kids, it was just very overwhelming a lot of the time. And I found that I was just unnecessarily snippy or shouting when I didn't really need to be shouting. And there was one day in particular, I can't actually remember what they said or what they did, but I remember shouting so loud that I got this shooting pain in my chest. And I was just like, oh, so I could legit just like die right now because I'm not coping with this stress properly. And then if that happens, then who do they have? So that really
mm,
freaked me out. So I'm not sure where I saw or read about this deep breathing technique, but I saw or I read it and I was like, I'm going to try this thing because it's a very like age old technique, right? Just take 2 breaths, take 3 deep breaths is what we're kind of used to hearing. And that chest pain basically freaked me out. So I was just like, I'm going to try something. So the next opportunity that arose, which with kids. It wasn't long. When it arose, I was just like, all right, we're going to take these 3 deep breaths, do the whole count to 5 thing. And I always kind of like squeeze my palms, squeeze my hand into a fist at the same time as well. And honestly, I feel like it might have actually saved my life, to be fair, and just brought peace into the house because taking those 5 deep breaths, one, you're kind of giving yourself a bit of distance from the situation that's happened. 2, you're regulating your heart rate and probably your blood
Mm.
pressure as well. And after those 5 seconds have passed, it gave me enough time to realize that what was said or done actually wasn't a big deal at all. It's just like, oh, I'm probably just tired, or oh, it's been a long day, or yes, she's 2, so of course she's gonna, do what 2-year-olds do, It's not that big of a deal. So, in a nutshell, deep breathing gives me immediate relief when I feel like I'm about to lose my shit. Yeah. Highly recommend. Because I mean, it doesn't require any equipment. You can do it right where you're standing. You just like close your mouth for a sec and take those deep breaths,
Mm.
And yeah, honestly, it really, 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 really works. It does. Have you ever tried? Have you
Deep
ever felt
breathing?
like, yeah, in like a
Probably
moment
not.
of insanity?
I probably don't do it consciously.
Mm,
I think it always just reminds me of like when you're kids and you're doing the most and your mum's just like, I'm gonna count to 10.
yeah, that's
And as
literally what it is.
kids, yeah,
For
as
yourself.
kids, it's your opportunity to get the hell out of there as fast
Yeah.
as you possibly can. We're talking 100-meter Olympic
Yeah.
speed kind of situation. But as an adult, it's that 10 seconds for you to calm
Yeah.
down. Like by the time you get to the 10, you're in a
Mm,
much calmer state. If you're also not ruminating on what is giving you stress within that 10 seconds as well.
yeah.
So I do think that, yeah, just breathing in general is a really good opportunity to give yourself some space from the
Hmm.
situation, and all of the reasons that you kind of mentioned in regards to regulating your breath, regulating your heartbeat and whatnot, just kind of like bringing it back down
Yeah.
to a calm state. I think, though, that I'm not like someone who does it without showing that I'm doing it. I'm taking a very long blink
Oh
when I'm
yeah.
doing it, kind of like,
Yeah. Girl, me too. It's just like, don't kill anybody.
yeah. Yeah.
Inhale
And it does,
kindness.
yeah,
Exhale thoughts of murder. Honestly, like whatever it is, it's definitely not like Zen because it's a
no,
high stress moment,
yeah.
So sometimes it is ugly. And I hear what you're saying about the long blink. I must look like I'm asleep sometimes because
Mm.
that's what
From
it
holding
takes.
it in.
Yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
takes.
So I
That's
think
what it
it's
takes.
definitely something that's probably a unconscious practice.
Yeah,
But when you do it with intention, it has all the more power
yeah,
behind it, especially when it's coupled with those thoughts of just like, you said breathe. What did you say? Breathing in kindness?
yeah. Breathing kindness, exhale, murderous thoughts, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's something,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, Coupled with that, it definitely has a really, really positive impact. Probably don't do it
enough.
enough.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yeah. I was going to add that as a
so
caveat. Like, don't think that every time the high stress moment appears, I'm just like, sometimes no, sometimes I do blow up, but
yeah.
definitely not to the extent that I was doing before, because
Well,
It was scary at one point. It really was.
there's this lady who lives near me, and I don't know who she is, but I'm sure if she started shouting, I'd be able to, like, in a crowd, and I could see
Oh.
her face. I'd be like, "Oh, it's her." Um, but basically, like, obviously, with the weather, we've got all of our windows open and stuff. There are times when I walk into my kitchen and all I can hear is screaming, like
Mm.
screaming, and it's at her two kids, but it's just like the proper, to the point where I can almost feel the phlegm shaking in her
Oh
throat,
my
like it is
God. Yeah.
full force.
Mm-hmm.
And she is screaming all of the time.
Oh, bless it. Yeah.
So, I'm just like, oh man, that's a lot of, and I'm at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, don't be screaming at your kids like that. That's what they're going to remember, is you
Yeah.
screaming at them all of the time. But I
Yeah.
know why you are, because they are
Mm-hmm.
the friggin' most, and they are not, like, you don't get a second. So you're
Yeah.
just like,
It's
just do
relentless.
what I say when I say it, and then we can
Yeah.
all crack on with our day, rather than being here 10 hours later, me asking you the same freaking things. Like,
Literally.
if you did what
Literally.
I said, we would have a great day. But they don't
Mm-hmm.
get it because they're
They really
kids,
don't.
and
They really
this
don't.
is not formed yet. So I get it. I completely get
Yeah.
it. Um,
But
but
also,
yeah,
I
it's
will
just
say,
like,
if you're screaming all the time, then that just becomes like the new level of conversation. Like, scream just loses its power. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like you have to save those screams from when, like, but when they're
it's the,
really
oh
doing the
yeah.
absolute most, and
And
you're
then they
about
will
to
know. They will be
exactly,
like, oh wow, we
yeah,
really
mm-hmm,
have fucked up.
yeah. Let's just moonwalk out of this room
Yeah.
and go somewhere else. Yeah,
That's when you're
yeah,
like, we're not worthy, we're not
yeah.
worthy. It's time to grovel, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it needs to have that
Yeah.
impact. I mean, I feel like we're sidetracking a little bit, talking about, like, getting told off by your parents. But I just feel like when we were kids, all we needed was a look, and we knew to change our tone, change our behavior, and, like,
Mm-hmm.
switch up. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
now I just feel like there's a lot more shouting.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm sure I've said it before, but trying to raise them to have, freedom of speech to a certain degree, to be able to exercise their opinions. I feel like this is the reason why the look, for me, it just does not work. Sometimes it does, but not the way that my mum's look would work. You do know what I'm saying?
So
Because
hang on, does your mum's look work on them?
no.
Or were you referring to the look that she used to give you that worked?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because even to like the slow turn of their head, it's just like you knew the look was about to follow. And
You
it was
felt
just
it.
like, literally, it's just like, oh, now is the time to either shut the fuck up or leave, or leave, because fury is en route.
Oh my God. I
You
do
know what I'm
love
saying?
that
It's
though.
just,
I feel like kids have missed out on that experience of just being absolutely terrified
yeah.
by a, like, kind of horror slow turn. You just, like, see that neck start. You're like, oh shit. Okay, we need to go. We need to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, deep breathing, guys. Deep breathing is a
Yeah.
healthy coping mechanism,
It's one of my
apparently.
few healthy ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Do you want to
think for
give me
me,
one of yours?
yeah, so I feel like it's kind of like a borderline healthy, unhealthy mechanism, because I actually need physical space. So
Okay.
I will take myself out, physically out of a situation,
Mm,
if it's possible. If it is possible, because I need to change the environment. I need to get out of that physical space that I'm feeling these feelings in,
yeah.
to change to a different one. And it doesn't have to be like, walking out in nature or sitting by the sea or whatever, which are my current things that give me so much life and joy. But it could just be to take myself into a different room and sit down somewhere.
Yeah.
So I found those work for me just because of the physical movement. And then because I'm in a different space, I'm paying attention to different things. It's almost like a reset. I'm like, you know, just kind of distracted, I suppose, by different things. And by putting that space in between whatever was going on or to where I am, then I can have a different appreciation. So it's kind of that counting to 10 or counting to 5 situation. I've moved past it. And then I'm like, okay, now I can have healthy reactions instead of like finding the nearest, sharpest object to, you know, to resolve my problem.
What is it about our need for violence? Like, we're not stresses high.
I don't know. Do you know, nowadays now, when I'm told that I'm aggressive, even in jest, I'm just like, no, there's truth behind that. Because although I might have been playing, I could have gone through with it.
Yeah. So... Honestly, it's like you just feel it coursing throughout your body.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I would probably never do it. Probably. I'm going to say probably. But I feel like, I could absolutely like do some damage, you know?
Yeah.
So that's quite a nice one because, physically moving yourself from the space, obviously the next space you're in, the energy itself is just different there as well, you know? So
Yeah.
I almost kind of felt like the deep exhale by just you explaining you moving to a different space and what it brings. So yeah,
I used
that's a good one.
When I was did my NLP course, they did a whole thing about changing state, and that's exactly what it is. It's kind of like changing the state that you're in, and physical distance is one of the practices there. And I was like, oh, that's quite good.
Yeah.
And since then, God, that must be 10 years ago as well. Jesus.
Man, it happens so quick, innit?
So yeah, about 10 years ago, it was something that came up, and I thought that's an interesting one to do. So I've been using it since then. And if I obviously cannot physically move, then quite often I just need to change what I'm doing in that moment. I'll put a pin in it. I'm coming back to that.
Oh,
But
okay.
right now,
Yeah.
I don't have the mental capacity to deal with it. So yeah. Especially when it's dealing with people, because you're dealing with a different kind of individual, how they approach things to you. And I cannot have a conversation with someone who just keeps going over the same point over and over and over again. And I'm just like, yeah, I heard you the first time. So what are your other points of view? Because I'm not thrashing out on this over and over and over again. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of mine. And that's when I can feel the like,
the rage,
the bubbling, the bubbling.
Yeah.
So it's in those moments I'm like, the other thing actually, as part of that, I've just noticed is I need something physical to touch.
Okay. I mean, that
It's
could
like
be
an
why, like, I
anchor.
ball my fist up. It's just that the change of
Feeling it,
sensation,
feeling
maybe.
yourself in your body. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like, this is the moment. This is real. To focus on these things.
So what do you go for? What's your thing to touch? Do you have a thing or?
No, not specifically. I think quite often, I mean, I always have a pen in my hands. I don't know why.
Okay.
But I always have a pen nearby, and it's usually because I forget everything. So I need to make a
write
note.
things down. I mean, you are the writer of the group. So that's not surprising either. You are, but it's still there.
Yeah, I haven't done that in a very long time, actually. But yeah, so I typically will have just have hold of it. And that's just something to focus on. It's kind of, oh my God, it's just made me think of oh God, what was that? The J-Lo film, Made in Manhattan.
Made in Manhattan? Okay.
Where the son has to give a speech and he has a paperclip in his pocket.
Oh, yeah.
as a way of concentrating the anxiety on that, just knowing that that's there, and then and that allowing you to get through it. It's kind of like that, literally just anchoring you in that moment just by having something to touch. But yeah, that's only just come to me though. But I don't know if that would be considered a coping mechanism. I guess the practice of anchoring would, but
Yeah,
that's not
I
what I'm
think
doing here.
so.
It's just,
Because you're like intentionally trying to shift what's happening at the time.
or at least your
Do you,
attention.
yeah. But it's still intentional. So yeah, I think it counts.
Mm.
Whereas one of my other coping mechanisms, eating,
It's on my list too,
which I'm
girl. On
sure
my
is
list
on
too.
everybody's list, is, oh my God, it's like an age-old coping. And I hate that food is a coping mechanism. But the thing is, food is, it's almost everything. It's like, if I'm happy, I'm gonna eat something because let's just heighten this feeling of happiness. If I'm sad, I'm gonna eat something because I need to like heighten this low mood. Like I really need to find something else. But food has, for as long as I can remember, it might even be a cultural thing actually, where we just turn to food for whatever
Comfort.
is happening anyway. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But there have been times when I, oh my God, I really hate that I'm always linking it to the kids, but there are times where like I'm just so like rattled or irritated, um, that I have actually been sort of like walking up the steps to get to my flat, and I'm opening the door and I'm picturing what I'm going to take out of the fridge or what I'm going to take out of the freezer or the cupboard to munch on when I get in. And it's weird because I'm not thinking, ooh, this is going to make me feel better. I'm usually thinking, I need something to eat right now. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
Mm.
once I've devoured that thing in like 3.4 seconds, I'm like, oh yeah, okay, so that's why I ate it, because I was feeling terrible. But yeah, man, food is a coping mechanism.
It's
It
bad,
is.
isn't it?
It
I
is.
find the worse I feel, the worse the food.
Oh yeah.
And it's almost like I'm treating myself because I want to feel better. So
Yeah.
the things that I know are delicious and, I only have once in a while. So actually now having them all at the same time means that I'm getting a treat.
Yeah.
But I'm actually punishing myself because it's all shit. It's
Yeah.
all rubbish. And afterwards, I'm like, God, I feel awful. I feel bloated. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like sick. My skin is coming out all
Yeah.
horrible. And I just feel low energy, low mood. So I've worsened the situation by treating myself.
Yeah.
Um, it's awful. It is
It's so
so, so
bad.
bad.
Isn't it kind of weird as well that like these are foods that we call treats, but actually they are terrible for you? I
Yeah. But I
think there's
guess,
something as well about like the wordage. Like if we changed it to, I don't know. I don't know. This is an incomplete thought, but maybe if we changed the actual word that we call these types of foods,
yeah.
then they might not have the same pull that they do right now. You
I
know?
know. I mean, obviously, well, for those watching, I was like doing the inverted comma thingies because I think for me, it comes from the wording, comes from being a kid, like
Yeah.
having a sweet treat
Mm-hmm.
was like a reward for good behavior, whether that was
Yeah.
doing what I was supposed to be doing by putting my clothes away or just shutting the fuck up when my mom told me to. Just
Yeah.
being like, here's a penguin for not being so
Mm-hmm.
annoying today. Do you know what I mean? So it was like that word has
That
stuck in my
wiring.
head
Yeah.
and then associated it with the things that I would never have access to. They were rationed out.
Yeah.
Um, Even becoming an adult, the fact that I can buy these things myself, like I'm fully fledged adult now, not like a youngling just coming out of
Yeah. We're
like
in it.
school,
We're
like
in it
with
now.
pennies. I full on pay a mortgage, but it's still a case of like, oh, I'm just gonna get myself like some chocolate fingers. all of this nonsense. And
Yeah.
then I eat half the packet and I'm just like, ultimate regret. Why on earth have I just sat here and passively
Yeah.
stuffed my face? So I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it. And when I get that urge, because I don't really have that stuff in my house, so like I'd have to specifically buy it. So when
Yeah.
I'm on that journey of, oh, I'm just going to get all of these things, now I'm just like, well, okay, maybe one chocolate bar. Let's
Yeah.
just do that. And then I'm sure from that we'll feel a little bit better about it. And also, here are some grapes in my in my basket.
Nature's candy.
Yeah, exactly. And then I don't feel too bad about it. So it's kind of like it still happens, but now I'm more aware
Yeah.
of what's going on when I'm reaching for those things. I'm like, oh yeah, no. So where you were talking about after you've eaten it, then you're like,
Mm-hmm.
aha. Now
Yeah.
when I'm reaching for those things, I'm like, aha, okay.
Yeah. Still
Okay.
working
So
on
now,
that.
yeah,
For it happening the realization coming before the mist.
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are
Yeah.
times where I'm just like, aha, fuck it, because
Oh, yeah.
because
Those ones I enjoy the most because it's just like I've already written off the calories, I've already written off the regret. I'm just
it's the
like
the
knowingly, yeah,
acceptance. I'm leaning in. I'm leaning into this
absolutely.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, now I'm just making healthier choices when it's happening. So I'm still working on it and not trying to fall on it so much. But at the same time, I'm just like, when I have those fuck it moments, I won't
Yeah.
now completely devour everything, but I will just choose one thing that I know I'm going to enjoy,
Mm.
and just be like, well, it is what it is, and it's only going to happen
Yeah.
now. And I probably won't see this moment again for a few months, so I'm just
Another
going to
week.
enjoy
Oh.
it.
Well, there's the difference in
Joker.
our lives.
Joke. Um,
Yeah.
okay, so we've had two good ones, right? Giving ourselves space, the deep breathing. We've got the eating, which we both agree on. That's an
Yeah.
unhealthy
I feel like
mechanism.
the nation will relate because it is social wiring, just like you said, as a kid, those sweet treat
Yeah,
rewards for things. It's just part of the culture. So I
yeah.
think if we could
Definitely
just
for the
lean more to
UK. I wonder what the rest, like if it would be,
mm,
because I'm not getting Asian
probably the
vibes
Western
from that.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's given it's given Western world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Oh my God. But yeah, I think as you just said, if we could do it more sort of aware, then it probably takes the sting out of it a bit more.
Yeah, definitely. What was the other one that I had? Um, oh, and it's not even really a coping mechanism, but it's doing nothing, right? Which we both know I don't do very well at.
Yeah, let me put my mug down and get into this. Do tell.
So there are times when I am feeling like proper low point. So
Mm,
there's no energy. There's no energy for the food uplift. There's just
okay.
like, I'm just gonna sit. And a lot of that I find is kind of an isolation,
Mm,
retreat into
okay.
myself,
Mm,
where I am so closed off, I don't have energy to do anything. So it's not relaxing in any way.
mm.
It's just a shut off,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
no,
just like
totally.
completely withdraw. I don't want to go outside. I don't want to eat healthily. I don't have energy to make food. I don't want to shower or get dressed. It's like proper down in the dumps.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um,
Relatable.
and and I'll just sit there. It's not even like to a point where, oh yeah, I'm low and I'm just going to sit on the sofa and watch all of the things that I never have time to watch and just enjoy that. I'm not even engaged
To
in,
take it in. Yeah.
yeah. So something might be on in the background, but I'm not paying any attention. I'm probably just staring blankly at the screen or,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So that is a coping mechanism for me. And I don't know what triggers it. That's the toughest thing. They don't happen often, but they do happen. They used to happen a hell of a lot more. But they do still happen on occasion. And I wonder if it's when I feel overwhelmed,
It sounds
like
like
I'm
overwhelm.
running
I
on
can relate to that.
empty.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not, there's
Where
just
you've
like
got all
nothing
of the
left to
things.
give
Yeah.
to
Even to
anything.
yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that is something that sometimes, I suppose it's an enforced coping mechanism. It's like shut down. We need to like close all of the shutters. Let's protect self. Like we need to kind of rejuvenate, I guess, from the inside out. And when we've got that 2% battery life, then we can start turning other things on whilst you're still
Yeah.
charging. But yeah, I put that down because it's definitely something that I have become more aware of. I used to just think I was like just depressed.
Yeah.
But I feel like, and it might be, I don't know, it
I
might
kind
be
of think it is. As
depression.
someone that's been like signed off with depression a time or two, it's giving depressed.
Yeah.
I feel
So
like there are times we don't like throwing that word around because I mean for me it was difficult to admit that I was going through depression because it just felt like what I was going through wasn't big enough to call it depression. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because we see people out in the world that really, really can't do anything and we're still doing the things to a degree, you know? So it's like, oh, it
Mm-hmm.
can't be that. I'm just either
Feeling a
hormonal
bit
or I
low.
just feeling a bit low. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, when, as you've just said, you can't, you don't want to watch a TV program, you don't really want to eat, you don't want to talk to anybody, you don't want to go out. It's giving depression, you know?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to last for like days on end, weeks on end, but in that space of time, that is what it is,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know?
Depressed. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, that was what came up for me really, is a case of kind of retreating into oneself as a protection
Mm,
mechanism. And then in doing so, just essentially recharging is just by doing that nothing and just giving into that need to do nothing, even the things that are good for you,
yeah,
to get back some of that energy
yeah,
naturally. And then it's like, okay, so now I'm aware. I'm through the worst of it.
yeah.
So now what do I need to do in order to make myself feel that little bit better? And like small things, showering.
Oh, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. I think again, sorry, not to hog your your bullet point, but one way that I know that I'm really not in a great place is when my self-care takes a nosedive, you know? And I can go a day or two without hitting that shower, especially if I don't have
Mm,
to leave this house. Oh my God. But once I do start to, as you said, that battery percent starts to increase and you hit that shower, it's just like, okay, I'm feeling human and alive again.
yeah,
And it's an easy thing to like tick off and then move on to doing something else
yeah.
that's good for you.
It
So yeah, it's a
definitely is
big one.
like it well, I don't know, it just kind of washes off some of that
Yeah. That
heaviness that
funk.
you've been
Yeah.
carrying.
Literal and
Um
figuratively.
yeah. Yeah. So it's a small thing. It's a small thing, but in that kind of like, oh, I'm getting out of that now and I'm
Mm,
starting to recharge. These are small, quick wins of just being able
yeah.
to, because
Quick
I
win.
always
Yeah.
find when I come out of it, I'm so invested in having something nice to eat. Like I'm
Mm,
not like, oh, I want a biscuit. I'm just like, oh, I really want like some fresh
yeah.
veggies, stir fry, some salmon. Like I'm like, yeah, let's get all of that nutrients in
Yeah.
my body. And then I feel good for that, making that decision.
Yeah.
And so it's these small ones of coming back. But I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so I do know healthy coping mechanisms are things like, healthy eating, that nutrition point of
Yeah.
the self-care aspect of it. And we're not talking taking yourself for a massage and a facial and whatnot. It's literally
Mm.
like having a nice shower.
The basics. Yeah.
Yeah. Even, rubbing off some of that dead skin on your foot bottom. Just I'm like, that's a good, and you're just like, oh, I've not done that in
Yeah.
so long, and now they're feeling silky smooth, like I was a 20-year-old again. Do you know what I mean? Instead of the
Because it's
96-year-old I'm
intentional.
giving.
That's the thing. It's intentional. You're doing
Yeah,
this for you, rather than just that mechanical autopilot behavior.
yeah,
That is a different shower. That is a different foot scrub when you're doing it to feel better.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, those things came on my list, but yeah, retreat is a big one. And I can remember like being in relationships and that's being quite difficult for partners, but now being able to verbalize it, to say, actually, when I'm pulling away, it's not necessarily anything to do with you. I'm going through
Yeah.
something. And when I come out the other side, I will be able to tell you all about it. But right now, I
Mm,
just need this little bit of space for myself. Um, so yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely something I've learned over time is to be able to say, "Oh, this is where I'm going with this." You
Yeah.
know,
To
I don't have
communicate
words
it.
for this, but I'll tell you once I do.
Yeah.
Um, oof, funny bone.
Yeah,
um,
that's a good point. I've definitely had those issues as well, where because I'm the same way. I can, close those shutters real quick. And sometimes not even, as you were saying, like previously, not even knowing why, but I just couldn't deal anymore. So it was just like, right, I'm logging out. And it's difficult when you're living with someone and they're just like, hey, what's going on? And you don't know. And then you don't know how to say that you don't know. Whereas now it is a simpler saying, I don't know, but I'll be back.
mm,
Just give me the space and time and I'll be
yeah,
back. And when I figure it out, I'll let you know. So yeah, relatable content.
yeah. What else was on your list?
So I had challenging the thoughts. So rumination back in the day was a big one for me. Like when I tell you the spirals that I would go down over like one little thing, it would like take over my whole day, sometimes my whole couple of days.
Mm,
Um I yeah, it's kind of just like picking at a scab, until it starts to bleed and then you just keep going. That's what I used to do to myself mentally. And maybe about pre-pandemic, I'm not gonna start counting the years because I don't know at this point. But there was a time when I went and had CBT, and one of the coping mechanisms that was given to me was like challenging these ruminating thoughts. And I got to a space where I got to a point where I'd actually noticed them, because previously I would just be going over this thing without even realizing that I'm spending like hours and days on the same thing. I got to a point where I noticed my thoughts, and it was just like, okay, I've been thinking about this for a long time now. I'm going to stop. And there are some times where out loud I would say to myself, enough now. We're going to think about something else. Like just physically, as you just mentioned previously about taking yourself from one room to another, I would take myself from one thought to another. Um, that's not always possible, because sometimes, whatever the issue is, it feels too big to just shut it off. So then I got to the space of trying to zoom out on that thought, like, okay, why are we thinking about this? What does it mean to the bigger story of your life right now? Is it as important as it feels right now? If it is, why is that? If it's not, then let's let it go, but rather than just holding on to that thought and letting it rule, I look at it and try and pick it apart. More times than not, it's I'm just feeling a lot of things.
hmm
But feelings and facts are two very different things,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So that's one of my coping mechanisms, just separating the feeling from the fact. And I do that by scrutinizing what that thought is. And I find that really helpful. Again, it's not always easy to do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, you can get really exhausted by feeling certain things and thinking something, feeling certain things and thinking certain things. And it's in those moments that I'm just like, all right, let's have a look at this thing. You know, it's almost like
Yeah.
tidying up. It's a big mess. Let's put these things away. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's one of mine. Yeah. Not easy to do, not always easy to recognize, but that's the thing. That's the journey, isn't it? To
Yeah.
sort of self-development. It always just starts with acknowledging the thing or recognizing the thing rather than it just running wild in your head and letting it rule your life. It just starts with the recognition. And as you go along, then you're just better able to deal. So for the most part, maybe 50-50, I'm able to do that. And I'm sure as time goes along, I'll be able to, you know, get to it much quicker. But it's all a work in progress. All a work
Yeah.
in
I mean,
progress.
like, it's new habits, isn't it? It's learning new habits, challenging old habits
Mm,
and replacing them with something that's a bit more resourceful. And that's always going to take time, and it's always going to take practice, and it's going to
practice.
take a hell of a lot of consistency. Um, because I mean, like, even I've also done CBT, and I found whilst going on like the program or completing the number of sessions that I had with a therapist, focusing on thoughts and behaviors and feelings and so on, and identifying them, and in some situations trying to replace them. Whilst on the program with guidance and with support,
Mm.
smashed it. I felt like a whole new person, because I was just like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was doing this so much. And now I have this new
Yeah,
healthy habit that I got to replace it, and I'm going to put effort in. And I was held accountable, because the next session I had to talk about what I'd been doing and how
yeah,
I'd been kind of like challenging it. So for like a 12-week period, I was like, oh my gosh, this whole
yeah.
new person with all of these wonderful, healthy habits,
I'm fixed.
right?
Yeah,
But the problem, and I think a lot of us do, is once that stops,
yeah,
once we don't have access to that ongoing support and guidance and accountability, and it's just down to you,
yeah.
that's a lot of work. It's a
It is.
lot more work than it is with someone by your side taking you down that road. So
Mm,
it's very easy to find yourself slipping back into old habits. But like you said, it's awareness, recognition is always
yeah,
a good place. So even if you have slipped all the way back, just coming back to recognizing when it happens, like even just not even, you not have necessarily have to be like, okay, now I have to change it. Just like, oh, there she is
seeing
again.
it. Yeah. That's a
There she
major
is.
key, you know. It's
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about just being able to just pinpoint the thing. I always feel really good. Okay, really good is giving it a bit much, but there's always that little like glimmer of hope in terms of being able to turn things around
Yeah.
when I've been able to pinpoint that I'm either back at square one again or that, oh, I've done that thing again. It's just like, oh, there has been progress because before I'd have just been on a loop, you know, doing the same things over and over and over again,
Yeah.
wondering why, or maybe not even wondering why, just in a bad, just in a bad cycle. But being able to
Yeah.
like recognize it now is just like, oh, okay, cool. Because I think automatically then you do start to make changes,
Yeah, exactly.
you
It's that
know?
whole thing of us like taking that space, shifting
Yeah,
our focus, of just being like, oh, that
yeah,
happened. Now I'm aware of it. I'm not going to continue. Like,
yeah,
even if you're not saying that to yourself, you're just like, oh, okay, that's not
yeah.
working. So you're doing something else, and then it could come up 2 minutes later. We're recognizing it again, and then we're shifting. So it is something that we can slowly work on. Do you have anything else that came up on your list at all? Healthy or
Yeah.
unhealthy?
So I've got two more. And I think I might have mentioned these before, but my SOS playlist on Spotify, music is everything. Now, there are times when you could be solo, especially when you've shut off, like what we do sometimes when you kind of retreat. Well, you don't even want to hear music anymore. You want nothing. But one of the things that will start to get me out is my SOS playlist. And it's basically, I'm not sure how many songs are on there because I've not had to play it for a really, really long time. But I know, yay. But it's literally a very intentionally curated playlist of songs that either have messaging that I need to sort of remind me like who I am and the path that I'm on and the strength that I have, or songs that I cannot help but sing along to.
Mm,
Because nothing will shift a bad mood than when you start belting out I'm every woman or something, you know?
yeah,
Like it just,
and
and
not
before
hitting
you
the
know it,
notes.
and not hitting them notes and not giving a damn because you are every woman, damn it.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, honestly, I can't recommend that enough. A specific playlist to play when you're in a funk. It works for every, let me not blanket term it, it can help. You know, it definitely can. And the other thing that I have, which is quite similar, is my comfort shows. So when it comes to like movies and TV, I'm always going to go for the comedy over everything else. Like I love to give me a joke, damn it. Give me something witty, give me some wordplay. I love it. So I've got comfort shows that I can watch again and again and again and again. And that's one of my things, you know, when I'm
Mm.
feeling like I need to pick me up or when there's too much going on and I'm actively going to avoid it for a while, I'm going to, because that's what's necessary sometimes, you know, I will put on my comfort shows. You know, it could be, what are some of them? I'm trying to think now. Superstore, that's on Netflix, like Brooklyn 911, just ridiculous comedy stuff. I love it. That's one of mine. Did you
Lovely.
have anything else on
Mm.
yours?
Um, Not really. I think,
Okay.
I think a lot of it is just because I'm not finding myself needing any, but
Mm,
I think, I suppose proactive mechanisms in place that keep you going are things like exercise, having a routine,
yeah.
being outside, like just getting that vitamin D and exposing yourself to that. I mean, I know that there have been definite occasions where I have left you and Kay a voice note of just being like, make sure you get outside. It's lovely today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of that, of just like if it's a nice day, of definitely making sure that you get outside. So those small things. And I think also when you're in a space where you're not doing so well, whether it's stress or if it's like depression, being cooped up in your house
No.
and breathing that same recycled air does
Mm-hmm.
not help. It does in the moment because you don't want to be outside with the people and the world. But
Yeah.
so
Right.
even I would say this is a very small thing. If you are in that space, open your damn windows.
Yeah.
It's a very small thing, but open your windows because actually I found just by having that air coming
Yeah.
inside, your curtains can be closed, but just having that air coming inside, you will notice a difference.
You will. You will.
It's
I mean,
oxygen.
yeah, I'm super guilty of that. Like, I
We
love
know.
me.
We know.
I love me a lock in. Oh, I love me a lock in. You know, piggybacking. Why do I keep saying that? Oh my God.
That's funny.
Piggybacking. that is a mouthful, off of last week's episode when we were talking about being at home and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I love it here. There's no place I'd rather be. So whenever I am retreating, I'll be in this house for days on end and feel no way about it and feel like I'm actually fine. And then when I have to leave, maybe because I've like run out of milk for coffee or got to put the rubbish out or something, and then I get out, it's just like, it's nice
This
out
exists
here.
out here, yeah.
Also, my eyes too bright, daylight.
I know. It is
But
crazy though, but
I do really need to incorporate leaving the house and going for a walk for the sake of walking. Like that I never do. I only ever leave because I've got something to do or have somewhere to go.
yeah.
I don't ever just walk for the sake of it. And as someone really that likes to walk, I never use that as a coping mechanism. So yeah, that's one, I think
It's
the
not
main one that
everyone's
I want to get better at.
it's not everyone, it's to everyone's taste. I mean, just like
Mm,
even obviously I'm out there going for walks in like, up mountainy things and just
yeah.
through fields for 2 to 4 hours. And there's no reason for it
Mm,
other than to be
to be
outside.
there. Yeah.
But for some people, that's a wild thought. Like,
Yeah.
why are you walking
What do you
through a
mean?
field? Yeah. Like, what's on the other side of the field that you're trying to get to? Like, no, oh no, I'm walking around it and then back. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like some people that blows their mind, but it's a really good one. So I just obviously I'm gonna bring this little segment
Yeah.
to a close, but just for those who are still listening, in terms of like offering a little bit of not advice, but some
A
support and
takeaway. Yeah.
resources, if you will. I have found a post. It's from the hopefulpanda.com website. And it basically has emotion focused coping mechanisms and problem focused coping mechanisms. So, a way of offering people some suggestions. So, from the emotion focused side of things, they say some strategies are to distract yourself. So, whether that's
Mm-hmm.
physically or mentally, meditate. So if you've got, if you're really into the deep breathing aspect and having a goal, meditation, I mean, is
Yeah. It's
great
a
as a
stone's
way of kind
throw
of like
from deep breathing. Yeah.
taming your mind, getting creative. I think for those who like to be creative, it's a really easy win because then you find yourself in flow and already you're
Yeah.
kind of like transported to a different place. But for those who don't feel so creative, like just go back to basics, get some old paints in, hands,
Mm-hmm.
do all of the things, like just try something different. Or you can get those paint by numbers, which is a really good way of getting creative without actually having to think of what to be creative
Yeah.
about. Journaling, practicing mindfulness, cleaning comes up there. We've spoken about that ourselves. Exercise, practice deep breathing, going for a walk, practicing self-care, practicing gratitude. Do something that you love, listen to music, give yourself a pep talk, spend time in nature, take a bath or shower, play with your kids or pets. Play is a really good one, I think, as a way of distracting yourself. Like,
Mm.
I obviously am not a parent, so I don't have that responsibility all of the time, but I do love it when I'm around kids because then I can become a kid myself. I mean, also I'm super competitive, so whatever we're playing, I am going to win at.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't matter that you're 5.
no, no, pick up the game, girl. Come on. So it gives me the permission to play around and be silly. So that's a really good one. Talk to someone you trust, reframe your perspective, and manage your stress. And to be honest, a lot of the things that were mentioned will help with managing stress anyway.
Yeah.
Problem focused coping skills are focusing on that problem solving. So either it's a case of zooming out, as Monique mentioned, or zooming in some circumstances to look at what the problem is and how it's affecting. Seek therapy, simplify your schedule, disengage, not to the extent that we've talked about in terms of shutting people. Establishing healthy boundaries, a big one. making a list of coping skills so you can like, tap into, ask for help or support, improve your time management, and being proactive those are things that they say are useful for helping you with getting through things, coping mechanisms. Hope that's been helpful.
What was the name of that site again?
Oh, it was Hopeful Panda.
Hopeful Panda. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think there's a few on that list that I'm going to like tap into a little bit more. I used to paint all the time. Like I literally have a whole cupboard full of paints. And the other day when I was trying to declutter, I was like, do I get rid of these? Like, or repurpose because my nieces love to paint too. Or do I keep them and just try to get back into the flow of like sitting down and doing a painting? The problem is when it's sunny outside, I feel very guilty with being inside. So it might just be a wintry kind of, I don't know.
Oh, okay, fair.
Activity. Because then I don't feel so bad. When it's chucking it down outside, I'm like inside.
Outside yet?
What do you mean? What, taking my
the paints outside, yeah. Is that too much to...
Yeah, man, you have to take all of the stuff. If I had a garden, that'd be fine. That's long. That's long.
Okay, we're not there yet. Or ever going to be. Okay, fine.
Maybe. You know me. I'm always like, I might say no, but eventually it's going to happen. Look with
I'll
the
get
swimming.
a snap like next week. Look what I did.
It's just me. So are we ready for the media circus segment? Okay, so back. So because this is quite a long episode, I'm getting the sense, right? We'll keep this short and sweet.
Yeah.
Give the people what they want. So I think if we have one each, I think that would be good. I don't really know. I don't really know what to call mine. It's not really an am I the arsehole? It's not really well, I guess it could be deemed a dilemma, but it's not complete. So I'm just going to be blurting out some information out here and just see how you feel about it.
I've got a very similar one. It's kind of a dilemma / am I the arsehole? So wouldn't it not be hilarious if it was the same one? All right, let's have a look. Kick us off.
So I have no ages. I have no duration of time in regards to some of these relationships. So it is just what it is. So I picked this up from a different podcast, right? And it was basically just being read out. So the scenario is 4 years ago, Mum said that she was pregnant. Huge surprise. Now, 3 years later, my little brother is here. I'm really close to him, helped raise him and whatnot. So I'm assuming like this woman must be early 20s, right? One night I was binge watching a series on Netflix and my laptop battery died. So I logged into my boyfriend's iPad. I know his password. I wasn't snooping. All of a sudden, there were loads of messages that kind of like pinged through. And although my mum's number wasn't saved under her name, I recognized it. All of the messages were saying how guilty she felt. And he responded with, he also felt guilty, but he couldn't lose her and that they fucked up. The clincher was the message saying that how unfair it was that the brother would never know who their dead dad was, and that she hoped he could live his life seeing him and not acting like a dad, but more as a brother-in-law. And that was the end of that.
Yo.
What do you think she did? I mean...
Damn. Okay, so it's not complete, but we know what the situation is.
We know what the situation is. Obviously, we
Mum
don't know
had it
how
off
long...
with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's her brother is... Well, obviously her brother's still her brother. But her brother is her boyfriend's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. She blew the fuck up because what else can you do? But then what an awful situation to be in because now that it's out in the open, you can't get away from either of them. Like,
Well,
that's
we
your
don't.
mum.
Yeah, we don't know if she's gone. So,
Hypothetically,
yeah,
let's just
she
say that she did
knows.
confront everybody
Okay.
because, yeah, we'll say that she confronted everybody. What next is what I don't know, because you can't get away from your mum. That's your mother. And the boyfriend, who's now obviously your ex-boyfriend, is going to be around because that's your brother's dad.
Well, that's if he
Unless,
decides he's gonna act a dad around her, right? Like, or the kid. I don't know, because it's been 3 years already, and and that's going to be so disturbing and confusing for the little boy, right? Because he's
oh
been hanging
yeah,
around
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy who is his sister's partner, and then all of a sudden, what, he's my dad? That, like,
Yeah, I mean, that's the age where you have to drop those bombs because they're kind of still young enough where,
they can
it's going to be
adjust.
weird, but yeah. Like, if you're getting that news when you're 15, it's a mess and you're running away. But at 4, I feel like, if we had this conversation with like Bob's Builder playing in the background, then
Yeah.
it's not going to hit as hard.
No, I guess not. I mean, even then, like, most of our earliest memories, we don't, beyond 2, I think it start around 2 is when we start remembering, but they're so early in the day.
Yeah, anyway,
And
exactly.
if you are showing up after that fact as that person's parent, then
Yeah,
maybe that will be rewritten.
exactly. But it's
But
just
yeah,
if that woman
yeah.
is still married, because there was no mention of like the girl's dad being around still.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Well, we also don't
who
know if
knows?
this was like an indiscretion before they came. Because I've heard many a story of where, like, oh, I had sex with a cougar, blah, 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 and then now I'm in this. I think I actually told that
Uh,
story on one of our episodes. So it could have
oh
happened before
yeah.
they met, but I don't know. But the mum would have known. Well, they both would have known beforehand.
Mm,
Even if he met the daughter later,
yeah.
there was
Yeah,
still an opportunity.
there's always an opportunity. As long as you're breathing, there is an opportunity to say. You can send a letter, you can send a text, carry a pigeon. There is no reason for the truth to not be out there.
Yeah. So that was mine, because I was just like, oh,
All right. Well, my one, I feel like it's a bit of I've seen it in a few places. So it might be a bit of a viral post at the moment. So let me know if you've heard it. Basically, this couple are about to get married. Okay. George and Kate, they're about to get married. Have you heard it?
no.
Oh, okay. George and Kate are about to get married. George has a best friend called Emily. Emily is a bridesmaid.
Okay.
Kate gets sent a recording or a voice note. I'm not sure what she's sent exactly, but it's basically a conversation that Emily is having with somebody else, right? And in this conversation, Emily is basically slagging off Kate and saying that her and George are soulmates and that they're meant to be together. So Kate's obviously very pissed off and uncomfortable with Emily still being a bridesmaid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she calls George and she tells George what's going on, and basically asks that he uninvite her from the wedding because she doesn't want someone at the wedding that has been talking about her this way and also, has eyes for her fiance. So George is just like, well, Emily's my best friend, and I don't think like she really meant it that way. I'm not in love with her. I don't see her that way, but she is my best friend and I want her at the wedding. So Kate's like, yeah, but she's been saying all of these things about me and I'm just not happy for her to be there. I'm really not comfortable at all. George says, if Emily is not at the wedding, there will be no wedding. Is George, is George the arsehole? What's Kate's dilemma? What do you think? What do you think Kate should do?
get a refund on her wedding dress. That's my advice.
Yeah.
I am supposed to be your soon-to-be wife.
Mm-hmm.
Other than your mum, I am your number one.
Mm-hmm.
You can be friends. I'm not saying you can't be friends like with other women, but to put your friend, especially I'm getting married to you and you're saying, actually, if my friend cannot be at the wedding, then I don't want to have a wedding. After I'm telling you that this friend of yours is slagging me off and is saying that they want to be with you, and you're still like, she probably didn't mean it, but I still want her there. No.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel like when I can't get married to you because you are clearly in love with Emily. Because first of all, no one said anything about you being in love with anybody. You brought that up, of your own accord. So there are some feelings here.
Yeah.
And how can I be so unhappy with this person being there because of the things that she's been saying about me, and you still want them there anyway, to the point where you're prepared to not be married to me if that person can't be there? You love them. You don't love me, so I'm out. I mean, it's got to be difficult because, obviously a lot of money's being spent, yada, 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 but it's one day. I'm not going to spend my life.
Earn more money.
Exactly.
Like, you can always earn more money, but what you cannot get back is the time spent with a man who is claiming no feelings, and a year into your marriage, he's off stooping Emily.
Absolutely. It won't even be a year. It won't be a year.
No, it's probably already happening.
The second there's any marital issues, Emily's going to find herself.
She's going to swoop right in. That's her perfect opportunity to tell him, oh, you deserve so much more. This is how you should be treated.
Absolutely.
And giving him all of the things. And then he's going to be like, oh my God, actually, Emily's the one who treats me the way that I want to be treated. I'm with the wrong person.
It was you all along. Yeah, absolutely. Take your things and go, Kate.
Oh yeah, cut out. Save yourself. Save yourself. A lot of heartache. And, time not wasted.
That's crazy. If Emily's there, there'll be no wedding. All right. It's over then, isn't it?
Well, there might be a wedding. It's just not to me. You do you. Why waste the money? I've got the dress. She can wear it. I'm out.
Emily can buy it off me. Yeah. Wow, that is insane.
So, yeah. I mean, what?
Crazy.
I do love these though. All of the little things that kind of crop up. They are my favorites. I am just like, live for them. Oh gosh.
Maybe we should have like another Am I the Arsehole special again. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. Let's put that in. Okay. Well, I feel like that's a nice little place to end today's episode. We've had the deepness, we've had the little light-hearted bit, so let's end on that nice little light-hearted bit. So for all of you who are still with us, thank you so much for sticking it out and listening, or for those of you who dipped and then came back, thank you for doing that also. We hope that you've either taken some really good bits away from this in terms of the coping mechanism, or can relate to all of the bad bits. You are not alone. So absolutely, you never have to feel that way. When you're on that couch and you're dipping into all of those chocolate fingers, think of us, okay? And in fact, here's a coping mechanism. Put on an episode of It's All Frolics. That will lift your spirits. If not to think, at least I'm doing better than these bitches.
I go outside and I wash. You are winning, babes. You're winning.
Oh dear, the love is always appreciated. So get in touch with us. Let us know what you thought about the episode, if there's anything that you do relate to. And if you can't do that, or you don't have the energy or the willingness, or actually you don't want people to be knowing who you are, just hit the like. Let us know that you've liked it. Make sure that you have subscribed or you are following, so you know when the next episode has dropped. But we appreciate the love of you being here. Is there anything that I have missed, Monique?
That's about it, babes. That's about it. Have yourselves a great rest of the week, folks, wherever you are in it.
Indeed. And we hope to see you or have you with us next time on It's All Frolics. It's a bye from me. It's a bye from
Hurrah
her.
for me. I don't know why the gun fingers are there.
Firing
Bye,
positivity. See you next time, guys.
Love a reframe. Bye. Firing positivity. Oh, you're a champion for that.